What is the best training split? There's not a best training split. It's the best split that suits your lifestyle and you can accommodate to. So two of the biggest training splits over the last few years is going to be LPP and bro split. And if you don't know what LPP is, it's very simply legs, push and pull. And let me break that down for you. What is legs, push, pull? Obviously legs is your lower half built up of quads and hamstrings. Push is anything that you push. So any chest movements, any overhead shoulder movements, and any push downs such as triceps. So it's pretty much chest, shoulders, and triceps. And pull is obviously your back, so any back movements, and then bicep movements. And what is bro split? Bro split, traditional split, you know, the typical gym split that most people go into, and it's sort of like chest on a Monday, you know, back on a Tuesday, legs on a Wednesday. So it's pretty much what I like to call as a singular split, where you focus on a single muscle group within that session. For years, I ran the bro split. I was really fond of it when I was competing and I was at my heaviest. I was definitely using the bro splitting elements. The legs push pull split I used when I was really trying to acquire a lot of muscle tissue. You know, I'm not against any of them. There's pros and cons for both, depending on who you are and, you know, what sort of physique you're trying to sculpt and the purpose of the split. So let me sort of break down how a LPP would look. So if I was to run the legs push pull split, how would I run it for most optimal results and, you know, optimal recovery? I would run legs push pull and I'd have one set rotation for legs push pull. Then I'd rest in the middle and then I'd run legs push pull again. So I'd run this split on a 3-day rotation. 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off, and that will just be in motion running the whole way. And what would I do to get the best out of that split? So the first 3 days, legs push pull, I'd have one set rotation where we focus on set movements. On the second rotation, I'd have a different set of movements. So the goal for me is to get stronger across the board at multiple movements and different movement patterns. Whereas if I had the bro split, that might be set up Monday to Friday, typically Saturday, Sunday rest. And again, we're typically going through doing the same movements every single week. So what is the argument we've got here is what's better. And it's what's better for you. So when we look at this, and the analogy I like to use is, so say if we're doing over the week, we're doing legs push pull. And we're hitting chest twice a week. In my head, we get better the more we do something. You know, the more you learn to ride a bike, the more you get better at it. So the more we do movements, the better we're going to get at them. You know, it's just the rule of thumb. So it's about, you know, we can go in and use the bro split and do chest every Monday. And if we do chest every Monday over the year, we're doing chest 52 times a year. If we break that volume down and put it over the week, and we're doing chest twice a week over the year, we're now doing chest 104 times a year. So the opportunity of growth is greater. The opportunity to get better is greater. The opportunity to refine the way you perform them exercises are greater. So in my opinion, I would personally opt for the legs push pull, because again, we're doing things more on a frequent standpoint. And again, you know, the more you do something, the better you get. However, I also do love the bro split because I feel personally we get a better pump from the bro split because we're really focusing on one muscle group. We're putting a lot more volume into that body part. And again, we're shuttling more blood into the muscle and we're putting it under greater stress. We're getting a much better pump. Normally people say to me, oh, you know, I don't really like legs push pull because, you know, I don't get as much as a pump, or, you know, I'm not getting as much volume. You are, because all you're doing is splitting that volume over the week rather than putting it into one session. And sometimes the bro split is not feasible for people. Why? One of the key things we always look at, recoverable volume. Sometimes the bro split, you put too much volume and you can't recover from it. And that's when you then say, well, how can guys do legs push pull and hit chest twice a week? Because again, we bring down the volume to find your recoverable volume measures, and then you can recover from it. And how else would the legs push pull split? So we've got legs. I would personally, legs rotation 1, quadriceps. Push rotation 1, chest, shoulders, tries. Pull rotation 1, pull. I would be focused on thickness, so focusing on a lot of low rows, a lot of T-bar rows, a lot of DY rows. And that's how I'd split that. So quads, chest and shoulders, and thickness. I would call it back thickness. And then I'd focus on legs again, which is hamstrings. Push, this time we rotate it round, and this is why we can recover from the volume, because the second push session is going to start with deltoids and then chest and then back, but we're focusing on whip, so focusing on that taper. So I feel like it allows us to be a bit more accurate. And You know, when I say push, it's not, you know, we're gonna go do 5 sets of chest, 5 sets of shoulders. We might do 4 sets of chest, 1 or 2 sets of shoulders. Then on the other push day, we might do 4 sets of shoulders, 1 or 2 sets of chest. So we're just using it to tick over. Whereas the bro split, we're pretty much just chucking in as much as we can in that session to make sure we trash the muscle, and then replenish it and then repeat it the following week. You know, when I was doing the bro split, it was taking me 4 or 5 days to recover. When I do the legs push pull split, it probably takes me 3 or 4 because the volume is, I can recover better from it. The less I do, I recover better. And that is the case for some people. The less they do, the more they get out of it. So, you know, the bro split's been around for years. I use it with clients, I use it myself, I go through phases. But if someone said you had to pick a split, for myself, I like doing legs twice a week, it's gonna be the legs push pull split. So that's the purpose. You know, the setup is to set it up so you've got that recoverable volume. And again, you can recover from it. The goal is recovery. You don't grow in the gym, you grow outside the gym when you can recover. So making sure that we can recover. And then does the split, you know, does it lead to your end goal? If you're someone that wants to bring up your legs, having 2 leg days, absolutely perfect. Legs push pull, rest legs push pull. The bro split, yes, it's still going to bring up your legs, but as I said, if I do legs push pull, I can split it, quads, hams, and we're hitting them muscle groups more frequently. When I was competing, when I was on the journey of growing and really acquiring and adding muscle tissue and adding density, I believe the legs push pull split was better for me in a progressive overload fashion with elements of high reps and high volume sets as well. Because again, in my head, naturally, subconsciously, I was saying, man, I'm hitting these workouts every few days. I must be growing. And again, I was moving heavy load every few days. I was hitting that muscle group again. However, when I felt like I had maxed out my density to where my body could naturally go, I then said, you know what? We've got a good lump of tissue on us. I need to go back to the bro split because I need to refine the tissue I've got. And that's why a lot of bodybuilders, Phil Heath, Kai Green, Jay Cutler, they do the bro split because they've already acquired a lot of density and muscle tissue by hitting body parts twice a week. When you get to a point where you are heavily muscular, it gets much harder to acquire new muscle tissue. So a lot of the time is you're just refining what you've currently got. And that's when I personally believe the bro split's best. So if I could start out again, I would start with the legs push pull split. When I feel like I've maxed out my capacity, I'd then go into refining the muscles and using a bro split. And that's why I said it all comes down to your end goal. It also comes down to frequency. Again, as much as these splits are cool, what works for you? What's optimal for you? I can't train Monday to Friday. Some people love it, some people can. So it's about what works for you. For a mental capacity, some people like training Monday to Friday. It suits the work schedule. So sometimes this split isn't feasible. Would I do this split without a rest day in the middle? Absolutely not, because there's not enough time to recover. We like 72 hours in between sessions to allow enough adequate recovery. Granted, you're on a maintenance phase or you're sort of in a surplus, or you're just eating a good amount of protein within your day and diet. And like I said, the biggest key here that we need to take home is everyone's different. What's your recoverable volume? And understand is the leg push-pull sessions are going to be slightly shorter because we're pulling down that volume because we're putting it at the end of the week as well. Say, for example, Monday, chest day, we're going to go in and do 16 sets. On the legs push-pull day, we're going to split them 16 sets over the week. So on the big chest day, we might do 12 sets. On the other day, we might only do 4 sets of chest, but these are going to failure, going balls to the wall. So again, recoverable volumes, what makes it work. You know, you're not doing legs push pull, doing 18 sets on a Monday, 18 sets on Tuesday. It's setting it up to suit yourself. So what is the correct split? There's not a correct split. It's the split that suits you, the split that serves purpose, and the splits that's best for yourself. And that's why when beginners come to me, I program lower, upper, because again, you're learning them fundamentals, you're hitting them more frequently, you're a beginner. Anything you do is gonna, you know, acquire a novel stimulus where you're gonna change. And then as we get more advanced, we move into bro splits where we can really refine, really target singular muscle groups and say, hey, these rear delts need to come up. Let's really give them the time and love they need to bring them up. So is there a best split? No. I think anytime you look at a training split, you have to look at your end goal, the purpose, how you're gonna set it up, and does it suit your recoverable volume? Are you able to recover from the split that is presented in front of you? So that, in my opinion, is my opinion on what is the best workout split. I don't think there is one. I think the split serves you at different times in your journey.